Alrighty, guys, we're back for rotation proof zero rare green, and this is an Outlaws, a Thunder Junction standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. Let's go over the creatures first. We got all four Toadstool Admirers. This is a 1-mana 1/1 with Ward 2. Also has a bottom ability for 3 and a green, put a +1/+1 counter on Toadstool Admirer. Pretty neat 1-drop, man, but it's not the only neat 1-drop in here. We also have all four Gingerbrute. 1-mana 1/1 with haste, and for 1 mana, Gingerbrute can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste. That should really come in handy in this build in particular, as we plan on buffing up Gingerbrute pretty well. Other creatures packed in, we do have Tomakul Honor Guard. As a 4-of, it's a 2-mana 3/1 with Ward 2. Nice. Also have all four Flourishing Bloom-Kins. This is a 2-mana 0/0, but it gets +1/+1 for each forest you control. Also has the disguise cost for 4 and a green. And when Flourishing Bloom-Kin is turned face up, you search your library for up to 2 forest cards, reveal them, put one onto the battlefield tapped, and the other one goes into your hand. That, of course, you shuffle as well. Yeah, pretty cool creature, man. I like it. It's going to pair nicely with this top end as well, Blanchwood Armor. The 3-mana aura enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each forest you control. Nice. Yeah, it's going to be pretty good in here. Hopefully the 22 forest is going to be enough. I do think it's going to be I mean, the curve is really, really low. We got an average cost here of 1.5. Of course, when I say enough, I mean, like, how often are we going to want to get like 4 or 5 forests onto the board so that way Blanchwood Armor buffs up significantly, or the same thing with the Flourishing Bloom-Kin. Anyways, enough about the forest. What else do we got packed in here? We have Thran Power Suit. This is a 2-mana artifact equipment. The equip cost is 2, and the equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each aura and equipment attached to it, and has Ward 2 as well. Fitting more of the ward theme here, we also have Lavaspur Boots. This is a 1-mana equip cost for 1 equipment, and the equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has haste and has Ward 1. So spot removal should have a lot of trouble versus this build. At least that's the hope, right? We even have some more protection packed in with Royal Treatment too, which of course gives the creature hexproof, but then also attaches a royal roll to it as well, which gives the creature +1/+1 and Ward 1. And of course, that aura being attached to the creature works really nicely with like that Thran Power Suit too. But we do have more auras packed in as well. All 4 Audacities. That trample is going to go the extra mile. Also, when Audacity is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you draw a card, and there's not a lot of ways to restock our hand in this build, so hopefully Audacity is enough. But we do have something in the honorable mentions that I'd like to bring up. A little bit of removal packed in with a couple hard-hitting questions too. Over in the honorable mentions, guys, I thought about different types of protection because we do not have many creatures in here, but hopefully like all the extra ward and everything gives us enough protection overall. But like I thought about Snakeskin Veil and Tyvar's Stand, for example. Also, Gaia's Gift is a pretty good one too. Other cards that I thought about for the list, Tail Swipe, I'm opting for the hard-hitting question instead, but this could be your fight spell of choice, I suppose. Tail Swipe's instant speed does come in handy every now and then, but in this build in particular, I think we'll be trading creatures more often than not, where hard-hitting question just does that damage instead of trading with like an actual fight. Also, Tanglespan Lookout almost made the cut too. 3-mana 2/3, and when an aura enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. And like I said, there's no way to like restock our hand in this build. So, Tanglespan Lookout, honorable mention for a very good reason. Okay, guys, I like to do my dandiest to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked, and see how we do. Right into that first game. All right. What am I expecting from the build? Honestly, expecting a little bit for what it is, right? 0 rares and rotation proof. I'm still expecting a little bit here, for sure. When it goes first. I think with all the spot removal and standard and whatnot, I actually think these ward creatures are just going to really go the extra mile. I'm going to keep this. I see no great reason to mulligan. Tiny Bones. All right. I accept this trade. If they want to trade Gingerbrute into Tiny Bones, I accept that trade. I think that's a good trade for us. Oh, okay. they they also decided that it was a good trade for us. Big reason there too, though. They didn't know that we had Honor Guard in hand, and Tiny Bones blocks that a little bit too well because of that 1 toughness. Even once we start buffing Honor Guard with other things in the deck too, the Death Touch, of course, gets around that. Let's save the hard-hitting question for now. I think the New Blood's going to be a better target, and that probably means let's get the Honor Guard down because of that ward cost. That way, when they commit a crime, it'll be on like the Gingerbrute, and then hard-hitting question will still hit the 3/3 New Blood. No great swing there. Yeah, seeing all these creatures in a 16-creature deck is actually a good thing, I would say, but we're definitely going to want to see some of the stuff that buffs our creatures as well. Oh, Deep Cavern Bat's going to hit that hard-hitting question immediately, kind of ruining our plan for next turn. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad, guys. Without other great ways to actually get rid of Deep Cavern Bat, we just got to start putting some pressure on now. Okay, they pass it back. Yeah, we did. I mean, we do have some good trades, so the Bloom-Kin can come down. At this point, though, we have to anticipate that they're going to start dropping removal on everything. If it's go for the throat, it's pretty hard to hit the Honor Guard or the Gingerbrute, but it would be pretty easy to hit the Bloom-Kin. But getting Bloom-Kin down, it'll be a little bit better next turn, maybe. We still have the 1 swing for the Gingerbrute too, so I actually start with that, I would say. Because they don't have any creatures with haste. Maybe the Honor Guard could have swung. Maybe I shouldn't have been on the defense for the turn. Because any of the trades, it would have been the Pickpocket. Yeah, I feel like that trade would be leaning in the opponent's favor then, right? Generous Plunderer. That's going to do a lot more for them than for us. Oh, another Honor Guard, actually. Okay, let's get the forest down. We could play both of these out. We keep the Gingerbrute back. See where they trade. If they trade, they might just take some damage here. Keep Gingerbrute and play both creatures out of our hand. And they also don't know what's in hand, too. There's 2 cards that are hidden. Tiny Bones trade, yep. They might take the 3. Okay. 3 gets through upon us down to 16. They do have the swing in the air with the lifelink bat. Honor Guard number 3 and the Bloom-Kin. Bloom-Kin being pretty hefty here. Actually, I wonder, you know what we also could have done for the turn? We also could have swung with the Gingerbrute, right? Activated its ability, and then played the Bloom-Kin as a 2/2 with Ward 2. And then flipped it next turn because we'll have 5 mana. Oh, that probably would have been a little better. Well, yeah, because we would have thinned the deck. 2 forests. And deck thinning at this point would really come in handy. Yeah, maybe we should have done that. We'd still have Honor Guard in hand too then. For the swing with the Plunderer, because of the Menace, they decide, like, if we double block it, they're at least trading into the Honor Guard. Or trading into something, right? So we could keep the Honor Guard and actually block like this. We don't know what's in their hand, though. So if they end up dropping, like, go for the throat on the Bloom-Kin. So playing around spot removal would look like this. Because it's one or the other, and then we still trade into the Plunderer instead of letting them keep the Plunderer. Keeping Gingerbrute isn't that great, though. It does look like it's going to be some removal, too. So we probably did a good decision here. It is going to be the go for the throat as well. So at least we still traded into the Plunderer, but it was still 2 cards for 2 cards. Deep Cavern Bat, okay. I gasped there because, like, every time the bat comes down, it usually wrecks face. But luckily, we had only a forest in hand. This new blood blocking a little bit too well here, and the first bat really did the thing, man, taking that hard-hitting question. So another Bloom-Kin is not half bad. So let's start by swinging with Gingerbrute to at least cancel out the bat's lifelink for the turn. Yeah, we need to see a little bit more other than our creatures right now. Actually surprised with how many of the creatures we're seeing. So let's get this face down with the ward and flip it on up next turn. Liliana. Oh, crap, dude. Oh, crap. Oh, we're in so much trouble. The new blood's going up to a 5/5, and it gets menace and lifelink when it has 4 counters. So next turn, and this should be the Gingerbrute. Gingerbrute can get by though and actually take care of the Liliana. So maybe it's the Honor Guard. All of that just feels so awful. All right, they do decide to finally swing with the new blood and actually keeping the Deep Cavern Bats as blockers instead here. Okay. Okay. So need a good draw for sure. Royal Treatment is not half bad. I think we just start by flipping this though. We have Royal Treatment open with the treasure. We could see if they end up double blocking here, which they probably don't. And if we're not careful, we could easily die here soon. If we won't have Royal Treatment open if we want to get the Gingerbrute to hit the Liliana. Maybe we can get that hard-hitting question back if we don't do that. Or Royal Treatment can be a combat trick. That could be pretty good too. Okay, they might just let Liliana die. That also works well for them, but let's see if we can do something about those bats. The opponent's out of cards in hand and everything, so they do end up blocking the Gingerbrute, which we're going to try to protect with this Royal Treatment. I think that's totally worth it, right? And they're letting the Liliana die here too. And I suppose we can flip this whenever. So, I mean, we can just do it. We could flip it up on their turn. I guess it doesn't really matter, right? It would matter if we were hitting their face. But keeping the ward on it for now seems a little bit better. All right. Passing it on back. It's a top deck war now. They got a great full swing here. We're going to have to keep a blocker back next turn to survive. Oh, mana off the top. All right. Let's thin this deck out. Flip that Bloom-Kin. Grab 2 forests. One goes there. One goes to hand. Audacity. All right. See, that's pretty good. So we're at 4. Bloom-Kin blocks the 5/5 for now, unless they find removal on top. So we want to start putting pressure on for sure. So Audacity onto Gingerbrute probably, right? And keep the Bloom-Kin as the blocker. Yeah, I believe we do this. On us down to 14. Like I said, it's a top deck war. All they need is a little bit of a spot removal off the top. More mana. Nice. It's a Mirex, though. That's actually pretty good for them. They can swing with the Deep Cavern Bat. Yeah, seeing all of the additional creatures, a little bit of an odd game, huh? And another creature, too. Okay, so if we swing with the Bloom-Kin and they take 7, we have a chump blocker with the Toad. We could actually risk it. We could really risk it here and get the Gingerbrute through as well, or try to get like 11 through and then get the blocker down and then see if they find spot removal off the top. Sometimes you got to risk it, man, and I'm doing that. I'm doing it. This is going to be awesome if we get there. Also, they might block. They might. Yeah, I mean, they missed spot removal the last couple turns. Oh, they do block. That's a huge block for us. So they power up the Mirex. They have 2 on the board. We have a Trump blocker on the ground if we really desperately need it here. Oh, not just a chump blocker, too. We can actually put a +1/+1 counter on the Admirer because we have so much mana. So they full swing, and we take this block. 1 blocker. See what they do. +1/+1 counter on the Admirer. This is actually wild, dude. I wonder what they found in their hand. Down to 2. Opponent's back up to 12. We do have lethal on this board. It's mana. Down to 1. Good thing we took that block. GG, opponent. How cool was that, man? That was an awesome game. Luckily, both of us were in a top deck war. Other words, like if they would have found a way to establish more of their hand, right? Any amount of card draw. Dude, going up against Grixis, this was awesome. Can't ask for a better first game, huh? All right, let's keep the ball rolling. That boosts my confidence with the build so far. And I'll tell you what, if that bat would have missed the hard-hitting question too, then I think that would have been leaning towards us actually for a lot of that. That hard-hitting question would have been amazing. All right, couple creatures and a couple of our other goodies too this time. Yep, no reason to complain here. We could complain that the opponent went first, maybe. But other than that. All right, it's probably going to be the Honor Guard for the Ward 2 to get around burn. In the meantime, though, make sure we get the Lavaspur Boots down and established for turn 1. Arming Scoundrel. All right. See if they go for Ramp or for Wicked Roll. It's going to be Wicked Roll. Okay, Forest is not bad. Yep, I think we stay on task here. Ward 2 just to have a creature survive the turn, get around the burn. And I'll tell you what, if they pay 3 mana for a Play with Fire, then I guess that's fine too, right? That's a really slow turn 3 for the opponent if that's the case. Slick Shot Show Off and Hidden Volcano actually making the opponent's cut here. I like it, opponent. That's nice. Toadstool Admirer. So they didn't accept either trade on the ground. That makes me wonder. Bloom-Kin keep Royal Treatment open, or Bloom-Kin go Lavaspur Boots. Might get a good swing. Toadstool Admirer here too. Bloom-Kin also could be face down if we wanted. I'm wondering about the Royal Treatment. I think we get some damage through here. With the Slick Shot Show Off on the board, if we swing for 7, we still want to keep 1 blocker back. I don't think they, okay, I was going to say, I don't think they block here. They do take the 4, might be a little risky. But with Show Off on the board, at this point now, like at any point, they could just go super explosive. Outlaws Fury is terrifying. I think they full swing. I think they want to. 9 getting through no matter what is insane. That's really, really good. We take care of the Swift Spear. Twinferno. They can play that next turn. Oh, buddy, we're in trouble. Twinferno pretty much wraps this up next turn. Is there anything we could possibly do? No great way to block the Show Off. Hard-hitting question would be good, but we only got 2 of those in here. So we can't complain that we didn't see one, you know? The other Bloom-Kin can come down. We can give it haste, drop an Audacity on it. I think we're going to die no matter what. So I'm just going to go for the fun swing. How do you guys feel about that? All right, pass the haste off to the other Bloom-Kin. Like, this is sick. That's 9. And then, yeah, so Slickshot Show Off, double strike in the air. That kills us no matter what. So we're going for it. Going for a nice chunky swing here. And drop the GGs in return. Good game. That's cool, man. That's really cool. Oh, they also had a lightning strike too. Yeah. I mean, we were probably dead like no matter what there. No matter what we saw. So double lightning strike in the opponent's hand meant even if we saw like a hard hitting question to hit the show off. Now getting the opponent down to 5, that actually that tells us something. That tells us maybe some earlier swings with the honor guard actually could have gotten us there, right? Or how many chances did we have to swing with honor guard? And how many chances actually, guys, I may have missed lethal this game depending on where the opponent blocked, right? I believe we had one chance to swing with honor guard earlier. And then one chance if I didn't block the Swift Spear and went down to 1 instead. So that would have been an extra 6 potentially. That's what I'll have to go back and watch because honestly, if I would have just kept pushing, there might have been a chance to take out mono red. Which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, no, I'll have to go back, check that one out to see if I missed an opportunity by swinging with that guard. But also like the opponent would have had a chance to block and maybe trade too. But that's not something mono red always likes to do. So a hard hitting question. If I get to the point where I'm like always wanting to see hard hitting question, we might want to go up to 3 or 4 of these, or just more fight spells in general too. It really depends. Let's start getting some damage through over the Admirer until we know what we're up against. Golgari. Ooh, that's gross. Against Golgari, I suppose Honor Guard should come down with the ward too. We're seeing a lot of our creatures, man. We do not have many creatures packed in here. A lot of tapped land from the opponent. Okay, let's go for the swing. I guess we play everything. Actually, I guess we'll go for this face down, huh? For the ward. We're playing this as a disguised card a lot more often than I anticipated. Oh no, another bat taking the hard-hitting question. No, get out of here, Deep Cavern Bat. Oh, that's funny, actually. I actually want to accept this trade into the Gingerbrute if they want to accept it, which I doubt, but okay, mana off the top would mean we could flip this back to the Flourishing Bloom-Kin, which wouldn't be terrible. We'll play the mana. They know we have the mana. And we full swing because we accept that trade into the Gingerbrute if that's what they want, and the Honor Guard for that matter. Yeah, I don't mind that. Hopefully, so 2 mana card for a 2 mana card, and we get the hard hitting question back for now. I'm wondering about disguising this. Okay, I'll do it, and I'll play the Admirer. Just go all in. The opponent's down to 12. If they find... I guess Golgari does run certain board wipes, don't they? Oh, Shieldred. Okay. Okay, hard-hitting question's not going to help us unless... Mana's pretty good. That's pretty good, man. It's too bad this forest doesn't come out untapped. Oh! I'm not sure why I did that. I'm not sure why I didn't try to do that as a combat trick. I guess we could have swung with both of our 2/2s, and if they blocked... Well, this is awkward, actually. Huh. I don't know why I did that. I'm going to full swing. A little bit of patience there would have been really, really good. So they know the other one's a Bloom-Kin, but we still get a ton of damage through and keep our hard-hitting question for next turn. They go back up to 6, and now I think this is going to start leaning towards Golgari. So potentially, no, Deep Cavern Bat, get out of here, bro. Get out of here. Okay, okay. Sunslayer's such a good blocker. Shieldred's a problem. Forest off the top is a problem. Dude, this might be another one that's my fault. It might be. Like, so a little bit of patience and swinging with the face down cards. There was a chance where they didn't block and we would have actually just been able to get even more damage through last turn. Actually, it still would have been 8, right? So, yeah, mana off the top is really bad. Glissa, First Strike, Death Touch is just like way too much to deal with. We're in trouble, dude. We're in a lot of trouble because they're going to be gaining 2 from Shieldred next turn. That hard-hitting question was going to be amazing. Take care of that Shieldred. But we do want to consider more hard-hitting questions just based on how often I'm like, man, like that would be really good right now, you know? All right, so we'll swing. Gingerbrute gets through. And anything to buff the Gingerbrute right now off the top would be really, really good too. So at 22 mana, I don't want to talk about going down any mana. But we are going to have to keep track with how often we actually get an excessive amount of mana on the board too. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What do we sacrifice here? Toadstool Admirer probably, right? I think so. Because we still want the Gingerbrute to have that unblockable status. Especially since we need Gingerbrute to take out the Liliana now too. Deep Cavern Bat, they're going to see the other forest in hand here. And hard-hitting question, taking out the Shieldred would be good, but like also the Sunslayer might be a better target right now. I think they can start successfully swinging as well. But they don't know what the rest of our deck consists of, so they do decide to say, hey, if you want to trade with that Bloom-Kin, I'll accept that trade. I think we do accept that trade while it's here, while it's available. Because we can't swing with the Bloom-Kin anyways. There's not a great chance of seeing hard-hitting question off the top because there's only 2 of them in here. Yeah, if we can't swing with it because of the Sunslayer. Thran Power Suit. That also gets rid of part of their life gain. They do have lifelink in the Deep Cavern Bats. So I suppose Thran Power Suit is not half bad here. All the extra equipment too, that's a reason to not drop any mana, you know? So we have the option to swing face for 2 or take out the Liliana. And I believe it's take out the Liliana. Luckily, Sunslayer doesn't hit artifacts. It is going to restock their hand nicely. And they have the Restless Cottage too. I think this is heavily leaning towards the opponent, but I suppose like next turn, if we see like an Audacity, bring the Gingerbrute up to 5. 6, right? Actually, right? Wait. What would Gingerbrute be? Uh-oh. Swinging with the Restless Cottage for the turn. Are they still going to keep a blocker back to make sure we have to pay? They're going up to 9. And then on the next turn, if they power up Cottage again, they have 9 on the board. Toadstool Admirer, that's actually not that great, is it? It does give us a chump blocker on the ground, so potentially a way to survive the extra turn here. So creature off the top would have much preferred a aura. Actually, the biggest aura in the deck, right? That could have done it. Oh man, I don't know why I'm overlooking that. Dude, the armor? We have 8 forests on the board. That would buff Gingerbrute to the extreme, and then we would just swing on in. So if we could survive the turn and see that off the top, let's actually use the deck tracker for once and see what the percentage is. 9% chance. That's actually great, dude. That's a really good chance. I'm just going to take the 5. Let's just take the 5. They get a draw on the Sunslayer. I mean, we're in trouble either way, so no blocks. Oh, they're going to remove counters? Question mark? Pay the ward too? I guess they didn't want to lose the 1 life. I'm not entirely certain what the Sunslayer was doing there. Maybe they just didn't want to draw, I guess, right? They just chose a random ability, or an ability on there that they could do. I guess that's possible. But they didn't want to lose the 1. Forest off the top. Oh my god. Hey, why didn't I activate the Admirer's ability last turn? I'm sorry, guys. I'm being silly. We could have had an extra counter on this, but we can activate it twice this turn as well. I guess that's good enough, right? Gingerbrute, swing for 2. Go, 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 go. Dude, we could totally be drawn better right now, right? I believe that. So we have the Admirer's ability twice, and we could have done it once last turn on accident. They go ahead, they drop the GGs. I guess they do have a full powered swing here with the Restless Cottage. Ah, we got a lot lower. We got a lot lower than I would have hoped. So no matter what, the swing in is ending the game. We'll activate this ability a couple times, and at the very least, trade in. Can't activate the bottom ability on Gingerbrute because you have to tap Gingerbrute to activate it as the food. Then we'll block the Lookout here, and I will also return the good game to the opponent. Guys, that could have gone either way for real. I also could have played it out a bit better too, so I think the deck is really showing something here, even through these losses, right? This is one of those ones, I think you guys will agree with me, that the deck is really showing off a little bit. And against Golgari too. That Golgari was running the crime card as well, so I wonder if there was other crime cards packed in. The Free Strider Lookout. We see, like, maybe... I guess we don't really see too many different variations on Golgari mid-range. Opponent goes first. Blanchwood Armor, where were you last game, bro? Huh? You have some explaining to do. That would have been sick. Alright, we should probably keep this. Yeah, and that's 16 creatures too. Even though we're seeing a lot of our creatures to the point where we're like, that's actually just too many. We don't want to go down any creatures. Like 16 creatures is just not a lot. I'm gonna get rid of a forest just based on the games today. Like we've been getting a lot of forests, even though it's just 22 packed in here. New blood. Oh no, it's already a 3/3, guys. Ah, they get rid of a Lavaspur Boots here on the mill. So we can continue to curve out or go Gingerbrute and keep the Royal Treatment open, or go Gingerbrute and swing. Regardless, we have to anticipate spot removal. So I suppose it would be Gingerbrute, keep Royal Treatment open for the Gingerbrute. But Go for the Throat is still like the most played spot removal in mono black, right? So maybe I swing. Because every point of damage does matter. Let's get through. Yeah, I mean, I guess a cut down also exists and stuff too, but a cut down on a Gingerbrute isn't too bad. Okay, we get rid of one of the Bloom-Kins, I think, because we definitely want to keep that Blanchwood Armor this time round. And with the new blood, we take the 3. All right, Audacity. That's what I'm talking about, man. Put that right on the Gingerbrute, and we have the Royal Treatment open. And the Royal Treatment. Unfortunately, that crime still happens, so New Blood is a 4/4. And next turn, they could pop the Gingerbrute, but we do have Ward 1 on it now. Dude, this deck is sweet so far. Just based on, like, what we're up against, too. Like, we're up against, like, brutal things. I think Ward always goes the extra mile in general. But, like, having all the Ward on these creatures and whatnot. Right now, Gingerbrute is a 4/2, so it can't be picked up by Cut Down. It can't be picked up by Go for the Throat. It also has Ward 1, so if it's a different 2-mana removal, they have to at least pay that extra Ward 1. Forest off the top would be sweet. It is a forest off the top. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, hold up. So we want to be very specific about this. Gingerbrute already has a huge target on its back. Ward 2 Admirer might be the better target for the armor. Putting it on Gingerbrute obviously makes sense because of like the whole making it unblockable nonsense, but then it gets picked up easier than the Admirer. And putting all of our eggs onto one basket, I think it's the Admirer. Cut down pay 2, we keep the Gingerbrute around. They do get that crime though, so their New Blood goes up to 5/5 and the armor fizzles out. That's bad. That's really bad. So if I would have played around the cut down. So we're on a 2-turn clock. And so's the opponent potentially, if depending on what we see. No, Liliana. Oh no. Oh no. A royal treatment off the top. Dude. Liliana getting around that ward cost, easy peasy. All right, call me crazy. But I kind of feel like this was my fault again. Maybe I'm being too hard on myself, but I kind of feel like, well, number one, I could have played around the second cut down easily there. The New Blood making an appearance multiple times from the opponents today. And it's no wonder, dude. Look at how easy it was for them to get 4 counters on this, and now it's just Menace lifelink. Good game, opponent. We could have kept 2 creatures back. It wouldn't have mattered too much, man. If we blocked with both creatures, they 2-for-1, they go up to 22. We just did the fun swing, got rid of the Liliana. Yeah. Wow. GG, opponents. We're going to go one more, man. I completely believe in the build. Opponents are bringing brutal stuff to the table. But as far as rotation proof and 0 rares go, I don't know. It just kind of feels like there's something here. I'll try to play this last one out to the best of my ability as well. Oh, okay. This is a bad hand. We should mulligan. We go first. We should mulligan, though. Okay. We keep this. What do we send? What do you guys suppose? All in on Gingerbrute? That'd be too much, right? That'd be too risky. Blanchwood? No, all in on Gingerbrute. Let's do it. Oh, the ward 2 on the Admirer is a little better, though. Crap. Well, no great way to give trample here. So the evasion on Gingerbrute's a little better. Dude, I don't know. Let's go all in on Gingerbrute. Let's do it. That was the initial gut feeling there. The ward 2 does feel like it would be a little bit more powerful on the Toadstool, but Mountain from the opponent. There's no way Gingerbrute survives. So we should at least establish something and hope that Gingerbrute survives, right? Get the ward 1 going on it. It's alive! What on earth? Dude, maybe I'm just too used to my things dying. Okay, ward 1 Gingerbrute established, and now any mana off the top would be great, of course. Second mountain from the opponent. Flick shot show off coming down. Okay. Audacity. Nice. Wow. Of course, mana would have been a little better, but can establish the Thran power suit and equip it next turn wouldn't be bad. Getting just another creature down seems pretty good too. Another creature probably, because we have to anticipate burn, especially now that show off is on the board. So Honor Guard. And same thing as last turn, man. More mana off the top would be huge for us. Yeah, the Toadstool Admirer would definitely feel a little bit more safe right about now against mono red, for sure. Like that extra ward. I think we can accept that trade into Swiftspear. They go Monstrous Rage and it buffs to 3 toughness. We should accept this while they give it to us, right? They get a little bit of extra damage through, but Swiftspear dies regardless of a Monstrous Rage. Oh, it's going to be a Play with Fire, actually. They go for the Scry. I think this is an okay trade. Hopefully. Maybe. Because we could have just taken 2 extra. All right. The Ward 1. See, again, like that Toadstool Admirer would be so much more safe right about now. If we save Blanchwood as a surprise next turn, maybe they won't pick up the Gingerbrute just yet. So let's go Thran Power Suit and Audacity and try for the big play next turn. And then maybe, like, they might keep mountains open, so it would be better to try the equip on the power suit rather than the armor type of thing. Yeah, the Toadstool would be so much safer out there, man. No! So they get around the Ward 1, easy peasy. So here's an example, right? If they had a mountain and they played it for the turn, and we had Toadstool, the ward cost would have been Ward 3, which is kind of crazy, man. Hey, creature off the top is just luck at this point. Let's get that Honor Guard down. Also, if I wouldn't have traded with the Honor Guard too, but they would have had another swing with the Swiftspear. So at any point, we could be in some serious danger. I think we'll go for the swing with the Honor Guard. Unfortunately, we can't attach the power suit to it as well, but we do have power suit next turn if we want. And the ward on the Honor Guard right now is Ward 3. Scoundrel. I think they want to keep a blocker. And this is where, like, the Gingerbrute wouldn't have really mattered either because they have hasty creatures to block. Yep, they keep a blocker. Toadstool Admirer. So we could go Power Suit. Get around it that way. But also just, like, armor finally coming down, right? An 8/5 is very hard for mono red to deal with. We'll have an emergency blocker on the ground as well. We could have given haste to the Admirer and attached the Thran power suit to it as well. But I think that's much better. Forcing a block, getting an emergency chump blocker down, and hoping we don't die to the show off for the turn, because they did go for this ramp for a reason on the Scoundrel. They do find a mountain off the top too. Come on, guys, let's get there. I definitely regret sending this first Toadstool Admirer, because I think we'd be one step closer if I went Admirer over the Gingerbrute. Yeah, if the opponent can't get there this turn, then they have to keep a blocker back. So there's a lot to think through for the opponent here. With 4 mana, I think they can win. I think they can easily get that 10 through with that show off on the board. They go for the swing. I'm on the edge of my seat. Are they going to have enough mana to take out the Honor Guard here? No way. No, we have Ward for days. I guess they're showing that they had the Witchstalker Frenzy, and then the Ward 2 gets rid of the... Yeah. Hey, GG opponent. Dude, let's get that swing. Also, thank you for letting me play it out, opponent. I was trying to go as fast as possible there. Very nice. We definitely got a little bit lucky. Mono Red not seeing their third mana for a little bit of time. That's not unheard of, though, because they don't run too many mountains. So, all right, got the deck win rate back up to a 40%. I'll tell you what, dude. I'll tell you what. I could have played it out much better today. I think the deck list really just showed off what it's actually capable of, which is great news, man. Let's go over this deck list one more time. Ending on a high note feels great. Here's the deck list again, guys. Oh, buddy. Cool stuff, man. We've played a similar deck list in the past. At this point, a very long time ago. I don't even know, at this, maybe like a year ago. Whenever Toadstool Admirer came out. When was that? Well, anyways, played a very similar deck list. I think when I played that very similar deck list, I was equally impressed. The thing about Standard right now and everything is just the thing I complain about all the time. There's just too much removal all the time, everywhere, in every deck, even the aggro decks, right? So, yeah, I mean, especially mono red having the burn, but even aggro decks like Selesnya enchantments and everything too. It's just packed to the brim with spot removal. Getting around all that with these ward costs is actually pretty wild. Not many creatures in here, but boy, oh boy, did it feel like a lot of creatures. Wouldn't go up any, wouldn't go down any. These 16 creatures are the bread and butter of the build. Flourishing Bloom-Kin actually coming down often as a 3-drop for the ward too, and then also just often enough to say, like, we had cards in hand where we were like, oh, well, we're going to have 5 mana anyways, so we might as well get this down on 3, flip it on 5, and thin out the deck. And thinning out the deck, as you can see, is actually very important, because what we want to see on the top is actually our buff spells, and we actually really struggled to see some of these today. Audacity, Lavaspur Boots, Thran Power Suit are all the buff spells. Couple things, man. The Thran Power Suit is actually quite expensive. Even though it fits everything in this build, we can successfully go down to 3, go up that third hard-hitting question, because boy, oh boy, were we always wanting a hard-hitting question. Think about even in that last game, where we were like, oh, well, we can actually get a big chunk of damage through, and we're actually trying to out-aggro mono-red aggro. You know what could have helped with that? Hard-hitting question, take care of that slick shot real quick, right? And then we could have had a couple extra turns. You don't have to out-aggro if you just get rid of their biggest and baddest creature real quick. So I do like this. 3 hard-hitting questions makes more sense to me than the 4 Thran Power Suits going down to 3 on the Power Suits. That just, yeah, that makes sense, and it'll still, the super fast curve and everything will look pretty much the same. Okay. Is there anything else I want to say about this? Yeah, I'm surprised at how often we were actually able to get an excessive amount of mana on the board. So we could discuss 21 Forest, but I don't think so, man. There's like so many moments where you're going to want to do a lot on the same turn, maybe while keeping open protection on like the royal treatment. We could talk about more protection too, but that's what all like the ward costs and everything are on our creatures. And we saw just how important that can actually be in that last game as well. Yeah, the opponents really brought it to the table, man. I think this deck just showed off its capabilities against some of the best decks, dude. Yeah, I couldn't be happier. A Blanchwood Armor. If I would have played it out a little bit better today too, I could have anticipated some of the opponent's plays. Like not playing around the second cut down was a little silly. I probably should have just put it onto what was the other creature on the board at the time. It was a 4/2 Gingerbrute. So anticipating the other cut down, going Blanchwood Armor onto the Gingerbrute. Actually, they had 3 mana. But I think that would have been a safer bet, because if their 2 mana spot removal was go for the throw, it can't hit Gingerbrute anyways. Yeah. So I guess like overall, could have played it out much better, and maybe we could have had a much better win rate today as well. So those are the changes. Lavaspur Boots, I'm probably going to try this out in a couple other builds at some point too. It's like, you know, Selesnya artifacts and stuff that I think this could be pretty cool as like a 2-of in. And then sometimes we see, I guess we don't really see it, but I've played it in the past, just mono green artifacts too, that this could be pretty cool in as well. I don't know necessarily if it has to be like an artifact build, or like an equipment build, right? Like that's kind of what this deck is doing too. Or a ward, a ward 1 build as well, right? Yeah, so many ways to give ward. What are they? We got Boots, Thran Power Suit, and then our ward creatures is Honor Guard, Toadstool Admirer, and another way to give ward is actually the Royal Treatment too. Okay, cool. Yeah, a lot of really neat synergies in here. I couldn't be happier if you guys can't tell. Hopefully you guys had just as much fun as I had today as well. If we take a look here, of course, it is rotation proof. So that means everything in standard except for Midnight Hunt, Crimson Vow, Neon Dynasty, and Streets of New Capenna. And also, I'm pretty sure Alchemy already rotated, right? Like it rotated with the last set. So if you're ever concerned about like if you're building rotation proof or not, I guess technically you could build it in standard and then double check by clicking on alchemy and seeing if it still works. And as you can see, it still works. I don't know if it doesn't work, does it yell at you? I think it yells at you. We should test that real quick. Let me see. So we'll go back to standard. We'll drop a what am I doing? Streets of New Capenna card in real quick. Let's do For the Family. So we'll put that in here, and then we'll switch it to alchemy and see what it does. See what it says. Ah, see, it highlights it. Yeah. Okay. Well, enough of that nonsense, huh? Enough rambling too. Hey, if you made it this far into the video for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you. And make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too. If you're interested in supporting the channel that way, that Patreon really does go the extra mile. So thank you to all my patrons. All right. Hey, I will see you in the next video.